Hey, what's going on YouTube? Welcome to Post Cologne. Today I'm going to be unboxing 3 new Middle Eastern fragrances, including Armaf's Infinity Silver. So let's jump into it. All right, we're back with another unboxing first impressions video of 3 new Middle Eastern fragrances that I recently got in. Links are going to be down in the description if you decide you want to check any of these out. Also some coupon codes, save yourself a few bucks at a variety of different places if you decide you want to shop with them. So pretty pumped up on this one. We have a new Zamea that we're going to be checking out. We also have one from the sub-brand of Lattafa, the Rave series, and we have that Armaf Infinity Silver. So let's quit screwing around. Let's get into it. All right, kicking things off, going to the house of Zamea, and it's Zimaya's Modhesh Aura. Now you can scoop this bad boy up for about $40, and don't know too much about this, but if you've been watching the channel a little bit, been digging into some Zamea fragrances, and they've been putting on a good show, so let's keep the trend going, shall we? All right, and there we have the rather large box presentation for Zimaya's Modhesh Aura. Nice thick cardboard box going on here, all the necessaries on the back, and a nice shimmery gold and a nice shimmery gold door there with a nice kind of geometric style of pattern that's going on through there, and it does open up like a so with this little ribbon that's here, revealing our fragrance bottle sitting on the inside with a nice shimmery gold kind of inside door. So nice box presentation, nice kind of fuzzy podium bed for this to sit in as well. So very nice box presentation. Bottle presentation on this also quite nice. Nice kind of tall, kind of rounded, rectangular style of bottle here. This bit of a cheapy plastic, but it doesn't feel fragile. It feels like this could take a little bit of wear and tear without breaking, and has this kind of nice pattern going on and decent weight going on to this. Cap on this, mix of some metal kind of in the top here, and this bottom part feels a little plasticky, but this is metal right here. Name of the fragrance house right there with Zamea on top. So overall, nice looking kind of cap design going on to that. I do enjoy a little extra pizzazz there, and the atomizer on this bad boy. Decent atomizer. Fat sprays doesn't go too far, but it'll get the job done. But what does this smell like? So right off the rip, just smelling this in the air, first thing that comes to mind is the Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir. That's the first sort of vibe I was picking up in the air. So you're getting that lavender, you're getting that mint, nice dry amber that's worked in here, some tonka as well. And it's got some of a bit more spice going on, this cardamom that's going in there, and a little bit of a woody profile, kind of like a dry ambery wood that's working in there. But definitely has that mint, lavender, tonka bean combination that you pick up in the Le Male Elixir. So let's dive in, see what we got. Yep, so right off the rip, just smelling this off paper, very similar to how it was in the air. Nice, clean, aromatic lavender. There's this nice mint that's worked in there. Not necessarily like a fresh, spicy mint. It's got this more kind of almost sweet, cooling, like spearmint style of mint going on to it. So it doesn't have like a spice necessarily, but more of kind of a sweet tone going on to it. And there's that tonka that's there. It's got this nice kind of dry, woody, cardamom spiced profile that's working in there as well. But it's really about this aromatic lavender, that tonka, that mint that's in there as well. And very much smells like the Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir. As it's opening up a little bit more, the woody profile is starting to come forward, just kind of forming that base, dry amber kind of woods style of foundation for this, but it's still about that tonka bean. A little bit more muskiness is starting to come through, and there's this nice kind of combination of this cardamom benzoin style of spice. So it's got kind of this aromatic sweet nature to it, but it adds that kind of masculine spicy profile that infuses with that woody tone, but really starting to turn more into the vanillic side of things. Still has that lavender and the mint though, giving it that kind of light, clean, aromatic touch to it. But overall, it's starting to get like a little bit darker and a little bit woodier, spicier at this point. Yeah, really nice interpretation of that Le Male Elixir style of DNA. So let's skip to the dry down, see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. All right, back with the dry down of Zimaya's Modhesh Aura. Been about an hour, let it settle down, do its own thing. Really nice dry down on this. Tonka bean came forward a little bit more. There is a little bit more kind of like this woody cardamom spice kind of profile that's going on with this one comparison to some other of the Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir style of clones. I'm finding this one's not as sweet. This one has a little bit more of that kind of like dark, rich, woody profile with that kind of cardamom spiciness that's worked into it. So it's a little bit like heavier, but has like, still has that touch of sweetness, still has that backbone of that Le Male Elixir DNA. It's just kind of a little bit of a twist, if you will, than compared to the other ones that are out there. So if you're looking for something that's a little bit more of that woody, spicy profile with the same style of sweetness that goes on to there, nice aromatics in that opening, then I think you're going to enjoy this one. But if you already have some of the Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Male Elixir styles of clones, or even the original, this is going to be redundant. It's not too far out in terms of twist. There's not like a lot more going on to it in terms of differences, but it is a very nice fragrance. If you're not familiar with that DNA, you might want to check this one out because it is a really nice scent DNA, and I'm enjoying this. And for 40 bucks, I think this would be a pretty good pickup. It is fairly strong. This is the first one I smelled when I came back into this room, so I'm not sure if this is like necessarily a beast mode fragrance at this point, but it's definitely pushing off the paper, so I think the performance on this is going to be quite good, but I'll have to get back to you guys and let you know. But overall, like I said, for 40 bucks, I think you're getting your money's worth with this one. It smells great. Might be worth checking out. That's Zimaya's Modhesh Aura. All right, next up, we're going with a sub-brand of Lattafa, and it's Rave's Royal Supreme Noble. Now, you can scoop this up for $20 to $26 at various discounters, and this is the last of the 4 in the series that I've yet to check out. I've been wanting to check this one out for quite some time now, and that's what we're gonna do today. So let's dive in, shall we? All right, and there we have the box presentation for Rave Royal Supreme Noble. Nice thick cardboard box. If you're familiar with the rest of the series, it's the same kind of like almost torn paper, kind of crack style of box that goes on here that does slide off like a so, revealing a little ribbon here for us to open the door to our fragrance bottle sitting on the inside there. So box presentation on these Rave fragrances are quite nice, especially considering it's a $20 style of fragrance. So overall, nice box presentation. And bottle presentation, also very similar to the other 3 in the series, has this kind of rectangular shape that mimicking the box pattern here with that tear going on here. Kind of an omage-y style of cap that goes on to this one. That is a nice thick heavy metal, has that little bit of a gemstone sitting on that as well. So pretty straightforward bottle presentation, but I do like the nice metal cap on that. And the atomizer on this bad boy, nice atomizer, goes a decent distance. Nice fat sprays on this one, will absolutely get the job done. But what does this smell like? So right off the rip, just smelling this in the air, really nice kind of this fruity combination that's mixing in with some nice white florals. And it almost has this kind of like earthy mossiness that's in behind, but really has this kind of like red fruit punch sort of vibe, a little touch of some citrus that's in there, and you are getting some nice kind of like green tones that are sitting around with some white florals at the same point. So it's got that sweetness, it's got that kind of earthy touch going on to it, and that kind of gentle floral aspect around the edges. So pleasant. It's a little bit on the unique side though, but it's pleasant so far. But let's dive in. So right off the rip, just smelling this off paper, similar to how it was in the air. Those red fruits are really the kind of the main player in this, and you do get like a little hint of this kind of orangey citrus that's in behind that. So it has that red fruity sweetness, but it's got this almost kind of that sharp citrus vibe that's kind of sitting in behind, just kind of like sharpening and livening up those fruits that are there. And it does have this kind of nice watery green floral touch that's sitting in behind, just kind of for those red fruits to kind of like, almost like sitting in like some floral water, if that makes any sort of sense. That's the kind of vibe I'm starting to get. Nice muskiness that's coming through with this as well. And like I said, it has that little green touch of this kind of almost earthy, mossy sort of vibe sitting in behind that red fruit sweetness, that little touch of citrus and those florals. So like I said, pleasant, but it's a little bit on the unique side. As it's opening up a little bit more, it's starting to get kind of a unique combination of like a different kind of sweetness that's coming through, a little bit of vanillic sweetness, but something else as well, mixing in with those red fruits. But it's also starting to develop a little bit more of that green touch as well. So the two of them are starting to kind of both liven up, if you will, and the muskiness is starting to come forward a little bit more. This, I'm not sure yet, but I think this is kind of a unisex fragrance. There's moments where I'm thinking this is leaning feminine, and there's moments where I'm thinking this might be more on the masculine side, but unisex at this moment, but it's kind of hard to tell where this is gonna settle. Yeah, this is a unique fragrance. This has taken me on a bit of a ride, to be quite honest. I'm a little surprised. I thought this was gonna be a little bit more straightforward, but we're on a bit of a journey with this one. So let's skip to the dry down, see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. All right, back with the dry down of Rave Royal Supreme Noble. Been about an hour, let it settle down, do its own thing. Nice dry down on this. It's got this like almost this fluffy, desserty style of texture going on to it. The red berry still hung on, so you're still getting that kind of red fruit sweetness that's there. And like I said, it's got this nice kind of earthy, watery tone that's going on. So it's like this kind of green lily of the valley wateriness with some white florals mixed in with this kind of like soft green mossy texture, and a little bit more musk has come through, and there's also some more vanilla that's coming through that dry down. So overall, it's kind of like a mix of some sweet gourmandy accords with some like soft gentle florals that mixing in with just some touches of some like watery kind of almost airy green aspects that are going on to this. So like I said a couple times already, it's a very unique scent profile going on. I don't recognize the scent DNA on this, and I do think this is leaning a little bit towards the feminine side, but I do think this is a unisex fragrance. I think any gender could enjoy this fragrance if you're into that sort of scent profile, but the DNA is not reminding me of anything specifically, so I can't tell you what this might be cloning, to be honest. But overall, this is an okay fragrance for me. I don't see myself wearing this one just based off the scent profile, but like I said, it is generally a pleasant fragrance, and if you're into that sort of scent profile, you might want to check this one out. That's Rave Royal Supreme Noble. All right, last but hopefully not least, going to the house of Armaf with Armaf's Infinity Silver. Now you can scoop this up for about $35, and honestly, I have not heard many or anybody really talk about this fragrance. I just kind of saw this one come online and I was like, hey, a new Armaf, let's check that out. So let's do that, shall we? All right, and there we have the box presentation for Armaf's Infinity Silver. Nice thick cardboard box, all the necessaries on the back. We have this kind of like galvanized metal sort of front cover going on to it, and these interesting kind of like, is this elastic? No, this is just, well, it's a little elasticy. This kind of ribbon that's holding this all together that comes off like a so that's an interesting touch. And nice little ribbon on the bottom here for us to open this up like a so. Ooh, revealing our fragrance bottle sitting on the inside. And this is a nice velvety style of inside cover, I suppose, with the Armaf logo sitting right there. So nice bottle or box presentation. Bottle has a little ribbon sitting right there for you to kind of wedge this out. I don't want to flip this into my face. Oh God, that's really in there. There we go. And there we have this is a unique bottle presentation. So we have ourselves kind of a rounded square style of bottle, but it's got this little hole there. I'll stop poking my finger through there, I promise you. But very unique style of bottle that's going on here with the name of the fragrance right there. Armaf is on the back, and the cap is also mimicking that same hole through there. And the cap on this is nice thick heavy metal base to this. There's a little bit of acrylic and metal mixed into that top cap there. So Armaf never ceases to disappoint when it comes to their creativity with their bottle designs. And the atomizer on this bad boy, nice atomizer, nice long sprays, not too fat, but goes a decent distance, will absolutely get the job done. But what does this smell like? So right off the rip, just smelling this in the air. Nice kind of heavy citrus profile, so there's some grapefruit going on here, a little touch of some ginger, giving it a bit of like a sparkle almost. And it's mixing in with this really nice kind of like sweet, watery rose, a little bit of like touches of some like green aromatics mixed in there, and some like additional like fruity sweetness, like an apple sweetness that's mixing in with those citruses, that nice kind of sweet, rosy, watery sort of feel. This is quite nice in the air. So let's get this on paper, dive in. Yeah, so right off the rip, smelling this off paper, really nice citrus profile that's coming through. The grapefruit ginger combination, little bit of like some tart bergamot that's sitting in there, but I'm really liking this kind of watery rose, apple, little touch of some spice mixed in there as well, like some green spice, a little bit of aromatic spice, just kind of like adding this masculine profile to this rosy apple wateriness that's in the mid, and that citrus is giving it kind of like a lively, fresh sort of vibe. It really is reminding me of the Risassi It's Essential. It's in that neighborhood, which I believe is a Yves Saint Laurent L'Homme Ultime clone. But that's my brain, the first thing it went to is this smells similar, not quite the same, but similar to that Risassi. As it's opening up a little bit more, that citrus is starting to dial back a little bit more, and it's more about this kind of rosewater apple spice combination with that kind of like that aromatic spice that I mentioned before. That's kind of livening up that apple and adding to that rose, but there's also some wood starting to come. So I think there's like this cedar wood. It just could be like a woody note with that spice that's mixed in there, but it's got that kind of cedar wood sort of vibe that's starting to form that foundation. But really nice apple, watery, rosy, green aromatic touch that's going on here with some spice. It's really nice. Yeah, I'm really digging this so far. It's got this nice kind of clean freshness, but this like added kind of gentlemanly like spice going on to it. So it has this like masculine edge, but it's still got this really nice fresh clean aspect going on to it. So far I'm really digging this, but let's skip to the dry down, see how this unfolds, and we'll go from there. All right, back with the dry down of Armaf's Infinity Silver. Been about an hour, let's settle down, do its own thing. Really nice dry down on this. The citruses have pretty much died off. There is like hints of it in the background. Now it's really about this apple in this like pink rose that's in the midpoints of this, sitting on some nice cedar wood. There's a little bit of a cashmere touch that's going on, and a little bit kind of like of a dry, woody kind of vetiver sort of aspect going on that's forming that foundation. But it's really about this kind of sweet apple that's mixing in with this like candied rose that has this nice like light, airy, watery style of texture. So it's a really nice kind of floral, fruity mix of sweetness that's there, but it has this kind of masculine spice that's tied into it, like a very gentlemanly, sophisticated sort of profile that's sitting on top of these woods that are there. And it's just a really pleasant fragrance. A very kind of dapper, fresh, clean style of fragrance, but it has that kind of that sweet spice touch to it that just kind of gives it that masculinity, a little bit kind of like a flirty mystique while still being kind of a fresh fragrance, if that makes any sort of sense. But really enjoying this fragrance. Does remind me of the Rosassi. It's essential, but it is different. I think there's more of this rosiness, more of that apple that comes through than the Rosassi. Gonna have to get these side by side to kind of really compare, but overall, very much enjoying this fragrance. I think this is just a great scent profile, nice and smooth in this dry down. I think this is gonna be kind of a compliment beast style of fragrance, easy to reach for sure. So gonna have to get this on skin, give you guys a full review, let you know how the performance is. It is pushing off the paper fairly well at this point, so I'll have to get back to you, but pleasantly surprised, very pleased with this one, and for 35 bucks, I'm quite happy it's in my collection. It might be something you want to check out. That's Armaf's Infinity Silver. All right, so there you have it. That's my unboxing, first impression of 3 new Middle Eastern fragrances. I think we got a couple hidden gems within this one. Pretty pleased with some of these, but I want to hear from you guys. What are some of your hidden gem fragrances that I should be checking out, doing an unboxing, full review on? Comment down below. Love hearing from you guys. Love getting your different recommendations, your hidden gems, different taste and scent profiles. Appreciate you. And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all next time.